All systems are a go.
Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your seats. Taking care of Iredell with North Carolina State Representative Jeff McNeely is about to begin. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, Iredell County. Hope everybody's doing well out there. It's kind of a little overcast today. It actually feels pretty good if you ask me. That's a fat man speaking anyway. So the rest of y'all out there like to not sweat as much. This is a good day to get out. Hey, got guests this morning. Got Krista Bokhari. She's running for the North Carolina House out of Mecklenburg County. Got her on the phone right now with her husband, Tark, who's been on my show before. So we're going to go ahead and bring them in and get going. And we'll take calls the second half of the show. So we're kind of switching it up. So, Joe, are we ready for them? Hey, is Krista there? And Tark, are y'all there?
Hi, Representative McNeely. We're here.
Hey, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. I hope y'all are. So y'all are in the mountains. It's even cooler up there than it is down here, I guess.
I'm going to tell you, the great state of Mecklenburg, every once in a while, you got to get out of it. We like to go to Iredell every once in a while, but now we're in Polk out here near the lake and the mountains. It's beautiful.
Oh, I bet it is nice up there. So y'all are up in the real mountains there, out down below Asheville and Hendersonville. Jake Johnson, Representative Jake Johnson territory up there. So lovely place.
The name you know.
Exactly. Exactly. All right, so let's get into it real quick here. We've had Tark on the show, and he's told us a little bit about himself. Krista, tell us a little bit about yourself. Who are you so my listeners can get to know you?
Well, I keep telling everyone I'm more than just Tark Bokhari's wife. For, the last 2 decades, Tark and I really dove into the Republican Party and the politics of Mecklenburg. And for the last 6 years, I've worked behind the scenes, helping Tark with constituent services and diving into the issues with him that are the biggest needs of Mecklenburg. And, from that point on, we decided that it was about time for me to throw my name in the ring here to run for a seat. So here I am.
All right. Now, what number is that seat there? Is it like 98 or what is it? No?
104.
104. All right, I couldn't remember, and I never mention opponents by name, but yours has been there, I think maybe 2 terms now or something like that, or 3.
He's on his 3rd.
Yeah,
yep,
not much, and haven't heard a lot out of him. Hadn't seen a lot on the accomplishment side, but the good news is I'm sure that Mecklenburg doesn't really have any needs at all. Being the great state, so since he's not been doing such a great job, probably nobody really cares. But let's hope not. Well,
No.
And now not only are you a wife, you're a mother. Y'all have 3. Y'all have 3, don't you? 3 kids?
Yep, we have 3 children, yes.
That's what I thought. You have 3 and got a husband that runs around. He's not only is he city council, he's everything else, and he actually has a band too. I've listened to him perform a little bit. Very talented. I'm sure he's able to get a lot of that talent from just being married to you. That's how it works for me. Most of the talent I get in my life comes from my wife through me somehow or another. So anyway, but
Coble, hey, I'm half as talented as Coble, I might add.
Well, okay, so that makes you like the tallest midget. Tark, it doesn't help. It doesn't. So midgets, no offense out there. Anyway, I got to watch myself on this show, y'all. Anyway, what are some of the needs for your district down there in 104? What are some of the needs that Charlotte and Mecklenburg County need?
Yeah. Well, one thing and a top priority for me is to address the crime problem in Charlotte. I don't think there's not enough being done. Our officers need our full support. We need some funding for the DA's office, and we really need to get the juvenile detention center reopened. That was closed years ago, and the juvenile crime rate is going through the roof, and we need to start addressing it.
Well, one thing that we just did was go back and try to work over some of that on raise the age,
Yeah.
and it had great intentions, but like all laws, people look at them and I guess you want to say figure out the loopholes or find the weaknesses. And so what I've seen happen, and I'm sure y'all have in Charlotte and Mecklenburg, is the gangs are going after younger and younger and younger children to do their work for
They're not
them.
stupid.
Yeah, because
That's absolutely right.
yeah, they realized that we kind of left a hole there to try to help, and instead it's really getting abused. So I mean,
Absolutely. These kids are committing repeat crimes, and they're getting just released right back, dropped back off at home. There's nowhere to take them, and so it's just keeps going. Problem keeps going.
well, and Mecklenburg sometimes kind of goes, and Tark knows this, bumps heads with the legislature a lot of times, until they really need money, and then somehow or another we're long lost cousins and make up and everything. But
Absolutely.
stuff when it comes time for helping with trying to bring justice or prevent crime, we all get along with that. We all understand the need for that. And so those are things that I think can be done if we have a good representative from the 104 district down there that brings that. So looking forward to working with you on that. One thing too, and we're going to have to take a hard break at 11:15 for about a minute or so to pay some bills with ads, but then we'll be back. So just know here we got about 2 minutes to get there. But one of the things that we've seen and we're trying to do is even on the highway patrol side in Mecklenburg, y'all are maybe not even half staffed right now. We're having to pull troopers from all over, and bless them. We've tried to raise the money. We still ain't giving them enough. We got to give them more. I mean, these people put their their life on the line every day. And so we're even having a hard time from the state side getting people to do law enforcement in Mecklenburg County. And y'all tell me what that says about what's going on down there. I mean, you've seen a lot. Tark, I'm going to call on you for a second. I know you've worked on these issues with the city council, but it's almost like sometimes it's fell on deaf ears.
Well, not just sometimes, rather frequently. When it's an easy ask or something like that the activists in town that are from the left wing don't care about, okay, we can get it done. But whenever those kind of defund the police forces that come out of the woodwork, and it doesn't happen all the time in fairness, but when it does, it's a fight. And it's a fight whether it's, hey, we've got to make sure they have the proper med kits for active shooter training, or we've got to have the right ballistic portable shields. Or right now, what we're fighting about here is, and unfortunately, this has become a fight between the chief of police and I, who's a great guy, but they need outer carrier vests with more protection, with more comfort that raises their morale, and everyone has it except for the rank and file right now. So we're prepared to go to battle over this for our rank and file patrol officers, and everyone that's listening, you can learn more. We've built a website. It's called shieldtheblue.org, shieldtheblue.org, and everything is there you need to know, plus a change.org petition and a GoFundMe so we can get our officers, much like you just said, Jeff, with the troopers, the right resources they need to be effective.
Yep, and we got to take a break here in about 10 seconds. When we come back, we may even talk a little bit about a vote where they would not let you get ammunition for practice. But taking a break right now, folks. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
More Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely is coming up. Call now to speak with NC Representative Jeff McNeely at 844 Studio 4. It's Taking Care of Iredell on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, we're back here for the second part of the middle of the show, of the left or the right, something like that. I think I got my guest in here still. Krista, you still with me? Tark?
We're here.
All right, still hanging there, and that's good. Real quick, I not to get in on Tark too much, but I know, like you said, here y'all are trying to look for ways to fund the police. I know it wasn't too long ago, y'all had a vote down there, kind of come out of nowhere, that you had to purchase ammunition for them to practice. And it took 2 votes to get that even approved, because the first time some of the, we'll just call them the other side, chose to just not even give them the ammunition. Isn't that true? Isn't that one of the votes that happened?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure your listeners out there are like, this can't be true. What are you guys saying? It's 100% true. It's one of many things that have happened. It's kind of one of the more egregious side ones that people tried to slip in there. But a colleague came up and basically in our consent agenda, it's part of our agenda every business meeting where we vote on 30 or 40 things all at one time, and so anyone can pulled it without anyone kind of paying attention. And about halfway through, I realized my colleague, who was both the exact opposite of me in every way and also one of my buddies, he just basically tried to deny their purchase of ammunition. And they were going to run out of ammunition at some point. They don't exactly backlog store all this. And as soon as I realized what was happening, I said, hey, hang on a sec here, guys. Listen, are we really doing this? You know that the ammunition isn't just for whatever you think they're doing with it. It's also for them to practice and the training on the range that you require them to do. So luckily we mustered ourselves back up together and got the votes. But it's just an example of how, Charlotte is over 20% Republican and then 40% independent, 40% Democrat. That's a supermajority for Democrats, the opposite of the General Assembly. But at the end of the day, we have a base of conservatives down there who don't get represented that well. And we need that both in Charlotte and we need it in the General Assembly from the city of Charlotte.
You do. Well, Krista, I know education is real important to you also. What are some of the things you would like to see maybe change or improve or maybe just keep doing that we're doing on the state side in education as far as Mecklenburg goes?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I do believe school choice is important, but we do still need to invest in our public schools.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to really go up there and focus on closing the literacy gap. I believe there are a lot of things there that we can be doing. And, I do want to support the teachers and the administrators to see what they need to make sure that our public schools are working efficiently and creating the best students and workforce development that we can do.
Well, and that last thing you just said there, workforce development, is so critical. It's one thing to just move them on from grade to grade to grade to grade, and they don't have maybe the skills, they don't have the reading ability, the mathematics ability. So all of a sudden, okay, they're graduated. They're graduated. They got through the system got through them, whichever way you want to look at it.
Right.
And now, are they employable? And that's so critical. I mean, Charlotte's growing like crazy. I mean, people coming in there left
Absolutely.
and right. And so, we got to have the workforce. You can't expect this necessarily going to move in. Those people, if they are moving in, most of them already have jobs there. Their companies are relocating to Mecklenburg or somewhere.
Yep.
So these kids that are there that are our future, are they employable? I don't know. So I think that's really critical. And I'm not saying they don't. I know Iredell Statesville Schools, we focus tremendously on that. I don't never really hear that from Mecklenburg school system.
Right.
Maybe they do. I just don't hear it.
Absolutely. No, and we need to be focusing on not every student's going to come out and go into corporate America. We need to, focus on BOTEC programs. We need to really look at our citizens in Charlotte and say, okay, we need to be able to fit all their different skill sets. And so I'm hoping to go up there and get that done.
Well, and one thing too, I know that there, like I said, you look at the contingent from Mecklenburg County, and I think when you total up the Senate and the House, there's 20, 22 different representatives or senators from Mecklenburg in the legislature. Most of them, except for maybe one, two, are on the other side of the aisle in the minority. So you're not seeing a lot of fruits from their labor.
Absolutely.
Very rarely. And that's the way the game is played. Some things have come and they were good ideas and they matured and we moved forward with a bill, but not consistently. Haven't really seen any handiwork, like I said, from your opponent who's been there a while. So your district right now kind of feels like they're probably starving a little bit and would like to see some of the fruits come
Absolutely.
from the state that they're not getting that other people are. Their money's going down, and it's ending up in other places. I hope a lot ends up in Iredell.
Right.
So,
you're absolutely right. And, that's what I keep saying. I think that District 104 wants to see that seat get to work for them again.
Well, I'm sure they want somebody that can go down there, and as the old saying goes, bring home the bacon. And in your case, being quite qualified as a mother and wife and all that, you can cook it up too, as the old commercial goes. You can handle it all, so you got it. And so anyway, I think you bring a great skill set to us from Mecklenburg with your insight and a lot of different things that I don't think Mecklenburg has right now. So I think you'd be a great asset to us. I hope the people in District 104 realize that. A lot of them are probably going to go in and see a D or an R, and they're going to mark one way or another. But I really think they need to take a serious look at who the candidate is for this district and who can do the most good. And I believe it's you, Krista. I believe it's you because I haven't seen the other. So I believe it's you. So tell me this here real quick. We got about, I don't know, we probably got about 4 more minutes and stuff. Is there any other thing besides education and law enforcement? Is there anything? I know you're always wanting to help do economic development in Mecklenburg. You get a lot of stuff coming, but you still need to help with the infrastructure.
Absolutely, yes. So that will be a focus of mine as well. Our roads have been ignored. We need to invest in that infrastructure and roads first plan for transportation. So that will be a priority of mine, as well as pediatric behavioral health. I think that with social media and, our kids are struggling right now.
Oh, yeah.
We have had more teen suicides in Mecklenburg than I'd ever like to admit. And we really need to start addressing it and getting serious about it. So that will be another priority of mine.
Yeah, that, coming out, I think COVID just like ripped the scab off.
Absolutely.
The problem was there, but COVID just tore it wide open. And these kids, we isolated them then, and then they really did depend on social media and just got hooked. So it's not an easy thing. I actually ran a bill on that, and they're not easy to move, those bills, but there's a need.
There is, absolutely.
And it's not just the kids wanting to be on social media grabbing them, sinking their claws into them in their weakest moments and spots, because that algorithm kind of tells you who you are and what. It figures you out pretty quick.
That's absolutely right. And, we have to be there to help in any way we can, help their mental state, because it is, it's a brutal, social media is just a brutal place.
It is. Hey, we're getting down. We got about 2 more minutes into the show here, and we're getting to the end. Social media, how are we going to find you, Krista? How do we find you and see what it all says about you?
Well, speaking of social media, right?
Yeah.
So we are just getting kicked off with all of that. So my social media, I have a social media page up, but it's not as robust as it will be.
That's fine.
In the coming months. But it is Krista Bokhari, Krista Bokhari, candidate for North Carolina House 104. And my website is KristaBokhari.com.
Okay. So,
Yep.
so you got a website, and then you have the Facebook page, and I'm sure you're going to do the Instagram, and you name it. You name it. And the blitz is coming. All right, we've got, like I said, just a little over a minute left. Give us your minute speech of why we should vote for you.
All right. Well, Mecklenburg they don't have a single person in the supermajority representing them right now. Not only am I in the same party in Charlotte, but not only am I in the same party, but I have the relationships to get things done. I'm a mother of 3, like you said, and if I am going up there taking time away from my children, I'm going up there to get things done.
Amen.
I'm going up there to get things done for them and for their future and for the future of Mecklenburg. So I'm ready and I'm fired up to go.
Well, hey, I'm looking forward to working with you, helping you get in the house. Anything that I can do, please let me know. I think you'll do a great job. And folks that are listening down in our Mecklenburg area, we just want good, conservative, smart people to come and serve and work with us. And that's what we have here in Krista, Bokhari. And so I pray that you vote for them. Y'all have a great time up in the mountains, and get back here, and it's going to be time to get at it, it looks like, and get her elected.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Representative McNeely. I appreciate your time today.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Take care. See ya.
We'll be back with more of NC Representative Jeff McNeely and Taking Care of Iredell after this short
Erica Herskowitz, Bloomberg Radio.
Now, more Taking Care of Iredell with North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right. Back here with the second part of the show. Hey, we're kind of switching the format up, we think, going forward. We're going to have our guest on first and then have people, if they want to call in, and me do my little parts that I do as far as enlightening people out there. So if anybody would like to call in, please give us a shout, 844-788-3464. And we hope that Krista Bokhari's campaign goes well. We hope some of the people down in Mecklenburg that could vote for her can hear us. We do reach down into that part of the world. Don't know if we get quite there, but we get close. So hopefully that'll work out. Well, let's jump in real quick. Couple different things. One, College World Series going on right now. I'm stealing Joe's stuff here now. He usually does the sports, but my NC State boys, they broke my heart there Saturday. They had it and lost it in the extra innings. It's just sad, but it is what it is. But we still got life. We got another game to play. And Carolina did win on Friday night, but they got beat last night. Or yesterday, I think it was. And so things are a little dicey for the North Carolina teams right now. We'll see how it goes in the College World Series. But, hey, there's hope. I'd love to see State play Carolina for the College World Series championship. Wouldn't that be something, folks? So let's just pull for our teams and hope it happens. Also, if you've never been, you ought to at least go down to Moorhead one time. The Big Rock Blue Marlin tournament just finished up, and it's really cool to go down there and watch those guys and those beautiful boats. They're big, they're expensive, but they're really cool. Go down. And so Game Time ended up coming in with, I think, about a 516 pound blue marlin, and that walked away with $1.8 million. Talking about catching a fish. You know, a $1.8 million fish, you can't eat it all at one time. I'm just saying. You think about that. So anyway, all right, now a little bit more serious stuff going on. That's some of the fun out there. Well, Hunter Biden was found guilty on all 3 gun felony charges in Delaware last Tuesday. Didn't take him long to deliberate on it. And so President Biden has said that he wouldn't pardon his son. Some said he wouldn't communicate his sentence, but there's a little bit of wavering, especially when they asked his public relations lady there in the press conference the other day. She kind of left that one blank. Didn't say much about that. So, you know, maybe we're going to wordsmith this to death and decide what does he really mean there. So we'll see. Also, we're going to see how this sentence, how long he's going to serve, if he's going to have to serve, and compare it maybe with the harshness of the penalty going to be handled down to Donald J. Trump in his trial. I'll be curious. Delaware's awful friendly to the Bidens, and that's the state where it happened at in Wilmington up there. So be curious to see the different degrees. Basically, both of them are considered first-time offenders. So we'll see how the law plays out in that. It's going to be interesting, though. Hunter Biden could serve up to a max of 24 years. That's the maximum sentence. Don't think he'll get close to that. Hey, you never know. Anybody like to call in and talk about any of this? 844-788-3464. Give us a call. Now, on another little weird note that's happening as far as justice goes, Garland Merritt, who is our U.S. Attorney General, tried to become one of our Supreme Court justices, never could get confirmed under Obama. And I think he has a chip on his shoulder from that. So, but now he is, like I said, head of our Justice Department. And the Justice Department should kind of work, in my opinion, independently of the executive branch, the legislative branch. It's on the justice side. But it seems like Garland takes his marching orders from the Biden administration because he's basically thumbed his nose at Congress. Joe, do we got somebody? He's maybe checking them out there. Has thumbed his nose at Congress's subpoena to release the tapes between Special Counsel Robert Hur and President Biden when they interviewed him over the confidential, classified, secret documents found in his garage and also found in an ex-office that he had inside of it was kind of a liberal think tank there in D.C. And after the interviews, Special Counsel Hur chose not to prosecute or even have a trial of any form whatever with President Joe Biden because he didn't think he was mentally able to go under that and go through that and be able to defend himself, I guess, with his ability to, reply to the questioning. So, do we have a caller? All right, so this is kind of interesting. We'll see how this works out if he gets those tapes. Obviously, there's something in those tapes that they don't want people to see, and maybe it's an older gentleman who's confused and probably really not fit to run this country. We're going to take a caller right now and see who we got. All right, this is Representative Jeff McNeely. Who we got here?
Hey, Jeff, this is William. How you doing today?
I'm good, William. How are you? What you got on your mind, sir?
I heard you talking about Hunter Biden. I think that he's probably not going to serve any time out of it because, number one, there's going to be playing the game of appeal. And did I mention appeal? Because I think that's what they're really going to do. And it's just because of who he is and whose son he is. There's going to be some favoritism there, of course. But, if I would have done this crime, I could be looking at some time behind bars, 3 hots and a cot. But this is where we're at. This is where we're at in this country. But I'm glad that you had those couple on there earlier, your show. I was listening to it a little bit. It does sound encouraging. What she's trying to do down there in Mecklenburg County is try to stop what happened a couple months ago when they had those 4 officers killed down there.
Tell me about it.
And, that was a juvenile in that case. And the person that did all the shooting and killing had been, a pre-offender and had been through the system and somehow or another finagled his way out of it. And that's what we got to stop. That's what we got to stop. If they do the crime, they got to do the time and not let them out. But that's just where I'm at with it. That's the way I think. But I know that makes a lot of people angry, I'm sure. But, they can get glad in the same pants they get mad in.
Well, and it's sad to say this, but I think, I don't know how y'all are, but when I go to Mecklenburg, my spider senses are a little bit heightened. I'm paying more attention around my surroundings and what's going on. I'm watching people and never quite at ease. My daughter lives down there in Charlotte in South End, and I've talked to her many times. She should think about getting her concealed carry permit. I just know that, like I said, it's not Iredell. Let's put it that way, and that's all I'm going to say, I guess. There's issues, and the sad part is they're probably not getting the help they really need from the General Assembly because at every given moment in time, it feels like they're nipping at the heels or stabbing us in the back or whatever. They're not playing ball like we would like to have the ball game be played. And so
that's exactly right.
And so they're not seeing a lot of help because of that. And those are, I hate to say it, but it seems like every time that you talk about politics, it gets political. And so,
politics has just gotten strange, Jeff. I mean, we need politics. As strange as that may sound, we do need politics, but we need decent, good politics, and that's went to the wayside. We've got a lot of corruptness going on, and it's not just in Washington, D.C. It's all across this nation. You take Mecklenburg County, going back to that county for a minute, there's a lot of people down there, and they're continuing to come in. And so when you have people coming into an area, potentially it sets up the crime rate. And it's just the way it is. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. But until we punish them and let them know that if you do the crime, you're going to have to pay the time. Until we get back to those rules, this is where we're going to be. This is what's going to happen. You're going to have pre-offenders, and it's going to continue to happen.
Well,
and we got to put a stop to it somehow or another. And if it means going back smash face hardcore about it, then so be it. That's what it's going to have to be.
And we talked about that raise the age law that it was passed right when I got into the legislature, actually right before I got there. I mean, like weeks before I got there. And it was kind of one of those things that if you didn't vote for it, you look like you were, you prejudiced, racist, whatever, to a point, because when you looked at who was being affected by this, it would be a lot minorities, actually. But it was not the right thing to do. And for the fact is, it set up children, literally children, 13, 14, 15 year of age. It set them up for gangs to be predatory on them, go after them, recruit them, and get them to do these heinous crimes, thinking they're not going to do anything to them. They're going to get away with it. And just like Krista said, they closed their youth detention center down. There's nowhere to take them, because in that law it says they can't be put into the regular jail system. They have to be kept separate. And so the whole thing is like, okay, they made a law. Let's figure out how to monkey it up. And that's kind of what's happened. We got about 15 seconds. We got to go to break, William, just saying.
Well, it's negative exposure that's happening with our children today, Jeff, and that's what's got to stop. We got to put some more positive into it.
Yep. Hey, we got to take a break. I appreciate you calling. Hang on if you want to, or we'll catch you next time.
Stay with us. We'll have more Taking Care of Iredell with NC Representative Jeff McNeely after these messages on 105.9 100.7 WSIC. Taking Care of Iredell continues. Here's your host, NC Representative Jeff McNeely on 105.9 100.7 WSIC.
All right, back here for the last part of the show. Like I said, if anybody else would like to call in, we appreciate William calling 844-788-3464. As he's finishing up talking about Garland Merrick and our Department of Justice, basically not willing to turn the tapes of the interview over to Congress so that they could see just exactly whether it is true or not, that whether the right decision was made by Special Counsel Robert Hur. We'll see how this fight plays out. According to the legislature, law, and Constitution, the Department of Justice has to turn these tapes over. So this should be interesting. This is going to be a little bit of a power play. And they'll try to do executive privilege, and they'll say a couple of other things. But Department of Justice shouldn't play elusive to Congress. This is not a good look right now, in my opinion. Well, one other thing, too. We passed the what we'll call the mask bill. And I know there's been a lot of talk out there about this. And basically, we sent it over it left the House and went over to the Senate. When it came back, it was a lot more strict than what we had sent over. And believe me, there was much talk about leaving it very strict, which basically said you could not wear a mask at all. It actually put it back before COVID, and that's how the law was written, that you couldn't walk around wearing any kind of a mask in public. We felt like that was, it was all about public safety as far as criminal, not far as health. So we got it back, and we worked on it, and I think, we've came to the right conclusion, and we're pushing it back over to the Senate to concur. And we'll see. I'm sure the governor will probably veto this. And one of the reasons he's really going to veto this is because once we got it back, things start piling on here near the end of a session, and we're getting close to the end of the short session. And we also put some campaign finance stuff into this bill. And basically what we did was level the playing field. Now, you'll hear the other side, the liberal side, holler, oh, they're doing this and they're making up laws and sticking stuff that don't go together. How does mask and campaign finance work together? Well, I'm not going to lie. It could be a stretch, but this was something that needed to be done. This was a good vehicle. And what happened basically was last year, from what I understand, I think it was maybe even an emergency meeting of the North Carolina State Board of Elections, which has a director that was appointed by our Democratic Governor, Roy Cooper, and they also have a majority of Democrats on this committee, voted pretty much along party lines to, I don't want to say limit the amount that can be give as much as opening up a completely new angle of how to give. And what had happened is the National Democratic Party had got their people to form what I would call a hybrid political action committee and change their classification from like the 501c. There's like 501c A, B, C, D. Well, they come up with a new one, and this hybrid was able to give pretty much unlimited money. And what that did was it allowed the Democratic Governors Association and the Democratic Attorney Generals Association to give unlimited to their candidates that they wanted to in North Carolina, while still enforcing the other form of the 501c that the Republican governor and Republican attorney generals group were listed under. So what this did was their vote tilted the playing field. And we talked about suing, but actually they were within their right to do it. Didn't make it right, but they were within their right to do it. So we had to actually run legislation to fix this. And we didn't realize what was going on here till this campaign for Mark Robinson and for Dan Bishop heated up, and they were being put at a disadvantage as far as how much money they could take versus their counterparts on the other side. So, it was funny, a lot of hollering and screaming about the mask and about the bill, but they never did really want to come clean to say that the playing field got leveled. And on our side, we didn't bring that up either, but it's one of those things everybody knew what was going on at the time. Still do. So, once again, monkey business at play, and you can see which side started the monkey business and which one's trying to end it. and it's the Republicans that are trying to end it. The mask bill basically says now that you can wear a mask if you're immune challenged or if you have health issues. It needs to be a medical mask. It can't just be some kind of cloth covering. It can't be a neckerchief or a scarf wrapped around your face like a lot of the protesters have chose to do here lately for pro-Hamas. And also, if you're asked by a business owner, private business owner, and or any kind of law enforcement to remove your mask, pull it down so that you can be identified, you must comply with that. So I think we really got it right, in my opinion. This allows those people out there who are immune challenged, I get that, to be able to still continue to wear their mask. But this also does stop some of the monkey business with it also, where people are trying to hide their identity at these protests because, they want to say something, but they don't want it to come back and ever be a problem for them later. Well, if you're going to go out and protest and be pro-Hamas or whatever, be brave enough to go ahead and show your face. If you're going to do it, do it. Don't hide. Don't sneak around. Do it. That's what I say. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, like I said, if anybody wants to call in, we got about 5 minutes left in the show. 844-788-3464. Now, something here that's a little bit different that's going to come up this week, and I'm not going to get into it much, but you'll start to hear about it. But look for some activity this week on maybe some kind of bill, something that will change how we view cultured or cultivated meat. And I'm sure some of y'all were saying, cultivated, I thought that could come out of the ground. Well, it can come out of a tank too. So cultivated meat, a little bit different here. And let me see if I can pull up what I need. It's always a little slow moving, but we'll get to it here quickly. Let's see, cultivated. The manufacturing process begins with acquiring and banking stem cells from an animal. These cells are then grown in bioreactors known as cultivators at high densities and volumes, similar to what happens inside an animal's body. The cells are fed an oxygen-rich cell culture medium made up of basic nutrients such as amino acids, glucose, vitamins, and inorganic salts, and supplements with growth factors and other proteins. Changes in the medium composition, often in tandem with the scaffolding structure of triggering immature cells to differentiate into skeletal muscle, fat, and connective tissues that make up meat. Differentiated cells are then harvested, prepared, and packaged into final products. This process is expected to take between 6 to 8 weeks, depending on what kind of meat is being cultivated. Boy, that sounds yummy, doesn't it, folks? But there's some people out there, evidently this is what they want. There's a segment of the market. There's a company, Believer's Meat. It's an Israeli company that has built a plant down in Wilson, North Carolina. So there's one in North Carolina. And I don't know if any of their products hit the shelf yet, but I think it's going to fairly soon. If not, it was needing some FDA, USDA clearance as far as making sure it's safe. And so this is something that's out there. And there's already some in some of your soups and different other things. I suggest you read the back of the label of a lot of different products and make sure you don't see the word cultivated meat. And they may use some other term for it, but that's the one that's the most popular right now. And one of the reasons I bring this really up that's concerning to me is Jeff Bezos. And you remember last week I talked about Bill Gates wanting to give shots to cows so they'd quit farting. Excuse my language. We're just going to say it out loud on the air. So now we got Jeff Bezos, and he has this thing called an Earth Fund. And they have given $30 million to open up a sustainable protein center at NC State University. So $30 million to open this up to figure out how to grow lab-grown meat proteins and to how to improve the process. And, you know, their big line I've heard them say is, we only kill it once. So they keep harvesting. To me, this is somewhere between cloning and possibly like growing a tumor. And neither one of those are exactly what I had in mind when I wanted to get my bacon out this morning with my pancakes, or the hamburger that I'm going to eat maybe for lunch today, or the chicken that I may have tonight. So, you know, we have viable industries that do a really good job in what they do of growing these animals for us and preparing them. But now it looks like there may be some alternative. All right, we're going to go ahead and pray because we're here to the end of the show. Dear Heavenly Father, dear Lord, a lot of troubling things going on in this world you created. I pray, Lord, that we be wise. I pray that we be discerning, that we understand the ramifications of what we try to do and what we're doing. Lead and guide us in our walk with you. Be with us. In Jesus Christ's name, amen. Folks, till next week, take care. See ya.
You've been listening to North Carolina Representative Jeff McNeely. Join Jeff again next Monday morning at 11:05 for Taking Care of Iredell on News Talk.